What do you get when you mix two white boys, both named Mike? A thing for Justin Timberlake and a piercing above your eye. Was he high? Their stories alone could make you cry. That's when you want to make your Irish goodbye.
That's how that
works. It
works.
was your early version of Nanette. It could have exploded you.
Yeah, the writing to come, you know.
I had a lot to get out there, and I want to find a friend in the world. Nanette style.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Irish Goodbye Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Mike Feeney, being joined, as always,
By Dippin' and Dabbin', Mike Cannon. Holy hell. It is
a storytelling podcast.
It is. Oh, yeah.
We already forgot it.
We talked about this last episode, but it's like we're 90 or so in, and we just figured out we should maybe let people know that this is storytelling.
Yeah.
Well, let them know. Yeah, well, it was good. Yeah, I mean, you texted that to me a couple days ago. You guys are doing great, I think.
We are.
Those dabs get you insecure.
Yeah, well, Mike took a dab head outside, and which is great because I think it'll make for a fun episode.
Guess Digital have fleas?
Oh yeah, what the hell is that?
Oh no.
Oh, it's dead now.
It's Lewis's mic also, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there's just bugs crawling. And I got stuff about Lewis I got to get into. But first we should introduce our guest.
Yeah.
Very excited to have him. You know him from the Legion of Skanks podcast, also on Gas Digital Network.
Sure. One might say it built this network.
Yeah, and still remains to be the network. Big Jay Oakerson, thanks for coming in, Jay.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, super pumped, man.
This is great. All these mics sound low, but I think it was just the volume. And now it's better, and I didn't need to call attention to it, but I did get to watch Alex panic for a sec when I said that right to the boards, which is great, because she's still new in producing, Jay, so she's
figuring it out.
She's squirrely, you know? She's constantly...
Squirrely is a good description.
Yeah.
She's very squirrely. I would describe her as darty. She darts around a lot.
That is perfect. And also maybe the most uncertain laugh I've ever heard in my entire life. Just on the precipice.
Is it with you or out? Well, yeah, it's with you or out. You don't even know.
Yeah.
You hear the laugh and you're like, I must be killing you. Turn around and I feel like she's pointing at you with another guy. Yeah. This asshole.
Yeah, it doesn't make for security, for feeling secure.
So what happened with Lewis? Because you went to the Yankee game last night.
Yeah, buddy, I'm riding a high right now because the Yankees just won the wild card game. I was there.
Did you bet on the game this time, Mr. Fiends?
I didn't, but if I did, you know who I'd be using? My bookie.
Ooh, I love my bookie. I mean, remember, who you're betting on is just as important as who you're betting with. That's why I always tell people to bet with my bookie.
Yes, that's why I'm urging you to make your way to mybookie.ag. You win, they pay.
Yep, they have in-game live betting, the most rewarding player perks in the business, and for you fantasy guys out there, you can even bet the over-under on how many fantasy points a player will score each game.
Join now and MyBookie will match your deposit dollar for dollar.
Oh, dollar for dollar, y'all. Use promo code IG to activate the offer. Visit MyBookie online today. That's
MyBookie.ag.
And don't forget to use the promo code IG when creating your account to claim up to $1,000 in free play.
Yeah, get out there, guys. You play.
You win.
And you get paid. All right, so anyway. Yesterday, Ari bought tickets, which he had in his mind. He was like, I don't know. He was like, should I buy 2 tickets or 4 tickets? And then he goes, I'll get 4 tickets. It'll be me. It'll be Liz from the cellar. It'll be Verzi and Giannis. I think that was like the group, or maybe like even Giannis and Chris. And then he like bought the tickets and then reached out to everybody to be like, got the tickets. And Chris and Giannis are like, we're in Germany right now. And like Liz is dealing with like
what was the tickets to? I did
to the yeah, everybody did it, damn it, me. God damn it. Get it in here. No, so God damn it. All right. So this was to the wild card game, Yankees game yesterday.
Okay, yeah.
So it was an elimination game yesterday, and so Ari buys these tickets, and then he just and then he waited till after he bought them at like an incredibly high markup price to be like, all right, who's coming with? And so he started texting everybody, and everybody one by one couldn't go. Just going down the list from like friends and other comics to like people he's kind of met once to like, oh
yeah,
like,
I mean, I got a text and I was like, am I this close with Ari? I had no idea I was a Yankee game on a Tuesday close.
Thanks for thinking of me 73rd, but
it did not come across like you had to pay money for it. He's like, want to come to the Yankee game tonight?
We didn't pay money for it.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
But that's what I'm saying. So he was just like eating the cost because he was like expecting friendship, you know what I mean? And So enough people can't go that he gets to Lewis, which like Lewis doesn't have any interest in sporting events whatsoever. I get a text asking me to go, and then the plan is to sell the fourth ticket when we get to Yankee Stadium. Nothing like selling a single ticket at a high markup at a game. So we go to Yankee Stadium, and Lewis has got this thing in his head where he's like, I'm going to wear an Oakland hat because they're playing the A's. He's like, I'm going to fucking stand on my seat and scream every time Oakland gets a hit. I'm going to boo Yankee fans. And so now my goal is just to get him kicked out of Yankee Stadium because he's an asshole. He doesn't even like baseball. I'm a diehard Yankee fan, so it's like he's just doing it to fucking be an asshole. So we go, we get to the stadium. It's fucking packed. We're trying to sell this ticket on the street, which is like nobody gives a fuck. They're like a single ticket, like beat it.
Right.
And it's
also next to Lewis, who's screaming.
Well, and it's also it's on the phone. It's not a hard copy ticket, so you can't even sell it to the scalpers.
You have to walk in with you?
You have to email it to
Yeah,
them?
yeah. You have to get their personal information, so that makes it even more difficult. It's 100 degrees in here.
Difficult.
Yeah. So we're like walking around. Lewis is like smoking the smoked honey, like walking around the street, like blowing it and like holding it like in his teeth out of his mouth in front of police officers. Like the man is reckless.
It baffles me that a guy that's been arrested that many times for public smoking still does so in such a flagrant way. All of his Instagram lives are him just gallivanting around Harlem with the smelliest weed smoking possible. He's smoking blunts on the street, just walking around with a camera in his face.
Yeah.
He likes to get arrested because those are in and out arrests always. He likes to pads his numbers. Makes him seem more ethnic. He gets away with more.
Yeah.
He socially gets away with a lot more if he gets arrested a bunch.
Yeah, it's good for his reputation.
Yeah,
just another Rican getting held down by the system.
He thinks the more he proves himself to be Puerto Rican, the greater equity he has in the business.
Or he's actually trying to learn Spanish for real.
Yeah.
He's
at
best
night
place
school.
for free lessons is to go to prison.
I can't afford Rosetta Stone, so I get locked up in central booking every 2 weeks. I get quizzed.
Nosotros, vosotros. So we're trying to sell the thing.
How many hours were you in for? 9. And everyone goes, that's not bad.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, good. Yeah. So we're trying to sell this thing. Eventually, we're like, we can't sell this. We see Nick Mullen just kind of like standing. There's like a McDonald's outside of across from Yankee Stadium that people are just like freebasing crack in front of and stuff. And like Nick Mullen's just kind of like standing there. And we're like, oh, like I saw him. I was like, oh, that's the fourth ticket, I guess.
You see him talking to himself and his hands just going wild,
Yeah, he's
just like
doing a
any other
beautiful mind.
autistic kid.
Yeah. So he said he was like, I guess he was just waiting for like a friend or something, but he'd been waiting like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, but him hanging outside the fucking play pit at McDonald's with that creepy mustache is not a good look.
Yeah, it was a very bizarre thing. But so we decide we're just gonna go in. So as we're walking towards the line to get in, there's the stands, which is across from Yankee Stadium. It's very popular Yankee hangout. The place is packed. And there was one Oakland fan that I guess was either maybe just walking by the bar, and the entire bar booed him so much. And Lewis sees it, and he's like fucking getting amped up. He's like, I can't fucking wait. And also Lewis is
I thought the booze would feed me, but me booing feeds more.
But Lewis also, for some reason, was under like this is his approach, his attitude was, I fucking dare them to try to kick me out, which is like, well, then you're gonna get get tased for sure.
God, that
so I'm like excited for him getting kicked out. So we're on the line, and then as an A's fan walks by, everyone starts being like, asshole, and as Lewis has said, can't resist a good chant. And he fucking just immediately, like a child, like you can see, I put it on my Instagram, he's just like smiling, and you can see him, all of a sudden he just turns on the Oakland fan. He's like, asshole, fuck you mother, just screaming. Once he realized he could verbally harass people in a crowd.
Joined the other team?
And he immediately went to the Yankees.
He is a bully.
Yeah, he really,
He's a born bully.
he really is a bully. So he's booing people. He's like,
Who is the weakest? I will attack.
Yeah. You realize there's strength in numbers, you know?
Yeah, wow, that's pretty. That's good about baseball, though, that they're still keeping and maintaining that culture. Because I think I talked about it on the show before, but I've been to MSG and called like ex-Nick Zach Randolph a bum, and I got fucking no look to notice that said, one more word out of you, you're fucking kicked out.
Oh, no.
Really?
This was like a wild scene.
Yeah, and I mean, that is the abridged version, but I was like, 7 whiskeys deep and fucking fire in my eyes, livid mad after that.
So
I'm going to fight Zach Randolph.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
And then security.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's a bum.
Yeah. So we go into the stadium, and like the game, the whole like atmosphere is, it's a playoff game, so it's a crazy thing. Severino is just striking people out left and right, and then Judge comes up, it was his first at bat, and I said to Ari, because I didn't realize how much of a baseball fan. I didn't think
Ari's a really big sports fan.
Yeah, and he's a huge Yankee. It's his favorite team of any of the sports, so he's like fucking super into it. And right as Judge,
he looks like the COO of every sports team.
Yeah. So I said to him, I was like, I guarantee Judge is gonna do something this game. He's like, you think so? I was like, dude, I had this weird feeling, and like literally the next pitch, Judge hits a 2-run home run. So I'm fucking excited. Everything. I'm filming this. I happen to catch on camera. I turn over to Lewis to film him. Everybody, and I mean everybody in the stadium, is up on their feet, jumping up and down. Lewis is sitting in his seat, just eating Cracker Jacks, which he stole, by the way. just stole the cracker. Like he did a move which was so genius. I gotta hand it to him. We're online for food, and he walks up, grabs a Cracker Jacks, comes to the back of the line, opens it. We all start eating it, and then he gets up to the front, and they're like, did you pay for those Cracker Jacks yet? And he was like, yeah, that's why I'm eating them. He's like, I've already. And then they were just like, okay. Like, it was like the easiest thing.
Wow.
So Lewis is just, being reckless.
That is, unless, I don't think he even had that answer planned either. That's the true mind of a sociopath, to be able to come up with it that quickly. Lewis, just a deceitful lie.
Lewis's mind is just like lying jazz.
Yeah.
It just, you never know where it's going to go.
I brought Lewis years ago to a Sixers-Knicks game. I think it was like still the Iverson years, and he didn't care about sports, but he's like, I'll go, he's game. And he came, and barely watched the game, just kept eating. Just kept ordering. Every time a person came by, he got the thing they had. Yeah. Candy, whatever. Cracker Jacks. And then, so he got a thing of Cracker Jacks. It's like a bag. It was a big bag.
Yeah.
And he was offering me Cracker Jacks. And he's not watching the game at all. And I'm like, keep reaching over and grabbing Cracker Jacks. And then at one point I just reach in, and I what I feel like is happening in Cracker Jacks, my mind is going to, this is the prize thing. And so several times I kind of just shove what feels not like Cracker Jack out of the way. Yeah. And then so finally here's Lewis going, ha, 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 ha. And I look over and I just see, of course, in a pretty packed Madison Square Garden, his fucking dick is through the bottom of the...
He put it in?
Yeah, I swear to God, yeah. And, I was giving him a real helmet massage for a while before I realized. And then he just put his dick back in his pants, just covered in whatever is on Cracker Jacks. He ate the rest of the cracker. I didn't have any more.
His caramel dick.
Also, had to sit there with a hole in the bottom of a bag.
And a hole in the bottom of the bag that he put his dick through.
Make the hole? I don't even understand.
That's how little he was paying attention and how much I was paying attention to that game.
Yeah.
So he had an internal game of him versus you during the outward game.
He was playing the long game.
Yeah. It was crazy, too, because it was like we were really, the game was like so much fun. We were so engaged. And Lewis went from, he had a couple stages. He went from super stoned to drunk to like super sick. Like Lewis at one point, legitimately, like he thinks he has the flu now. Like he had the chills. He had to leave in like the 6th inning. He had the chills. He was sneezing. He looked god awful. He was like, his face was like swollen, and he was like, I'm feeling so good. So right before he leaves, it's so funny. He's pretty hammered. So Lewis, when he gets like drunk, he's like a little like spatial awareness kind of eludes him, and he has a beer, and I don't know what happened, but he just fucking spills more than half of his beer onto the head of the person sitting directly in front of him. And it hit him with such force that it hit the person in front of this guy. And so like everybody around, and Lewis is like, he's fucked up, like definitely, but he's also in a place where he's like, I'm so fucking sorry. He's like, I'll go fucking run and get you a beer. What kind of beer you want? And like Lewis runs and go gets him a beer. He comes back 20 minutes later with a bucket of chicken fingers and fries because he just doesn't stop eating. And he had a beer, and he gives the guy a beer. And so now Lewis is eating all this food and stuff. And
this is after he said he felt sick.
Yeah, this is like while he's like, I'm getting like super sick. This is like a half an inning before he leaves, right? So now he's still kind of like, he has one more beer, and he's kind of like fucking swaying in the breeze a little bit. And then I asked Lewis to do something, and he was like, no, fuck you. And then immediately after that, he spilt a second beer onto the same guy.
Shut up.
So he spills a second beer onto the guy, but it kind of like hits the guy's back and then his chair. So the guy's not immediately aware.
It's
but
the
now
most
because
inconvenient spill zone of all time because
Yeah.
it's just like a surprise and discomfort. That
but
fucking
because
sucks.
because now Lewis, whatever he did to me was like he was just like, no, fuck you. I was like, oh man, that sucks, dude. That sucks. And the guy's like kind of being like, did he spill again? And he's kind of Lewis is like, shut up, Feeney, shut up. And then he like turns around. I was like, that sucks that you wouldn't let me tag you in this. And then the guy gets up and sees his whole sheet is wet and goes, and he looks at the guy and he's like, did you spill beer on me again? And then Lewis is like, dude, it wasn't. And then right as the guy's saying that, he's looking at him for an answer and he just goes, are you Louis J. Gomez? He's a fucking fan of him. He's a Legion of Skanks fan. And he's like, it's an honor to have a beer spilled on me by you.
That is the worst possible affirmation Lewis could have gotten in that
dude.
moment.
That's not a good thing.
It's not
that's not. I know you help feed the beasts on that.
Yeah, Ari got recognized like 7 times yesterday, but people are just like, oh, hey, Ari, funny
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
And they kept walking.
Knowing
Lewis,
full well he's probably on hallucinogens.
Lewis is like, Lewis has to get multiple things spilt onto them before they're being like, you're the guy.
You have to almost go through a catalog in your head, like, what kind of animal would spill something on me twice?
That's what I'm wondering.
Louis J. Gomez would be one of those people. You look back and you go, guess, holy shit. Would you believe?
I wonder if he more or less recognized him physically or behaviorally.
Total
Like he's like,
behaviorally.
wait, twice in one game? That
man-
could only be
can I-
one man.
By the way, Lewis is oddly known. Like one of the things he's known for is he spills something. With very few exceptions, Bobby Hutch, you could attest to this. Very few exceptions, he spills something on the table every week.
What is his
Like
deal?
knocks over like a full
he's just
drink.
an ape. It's
Yeah.
just so. It's
He's an
just-
ape. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, he's a complete ape. I remember I went to I had a funny thing. Me and Bill Burr years and years ago went to an Eagles home opener.
Yeah.
And we drove down. I remember, it was such a fun day. I remember my buddy told me that his friend Wayne would sell us tickets at a decent price if we found him. And he's like just one of the. He's like a big, huge, fat black guy who he's like you'll see him on the corner of the whatever and whatever sitting in a chair with another guy. And he kind of controls all the guys selling the tickets on scout tickets on the street. I go, great. So I take Bill Burr on this shady. This is before Bill Burr is like any kind of like well known either. And we go down to this like shady corner, and I remember having to ask the question like, "Are you Wayne?" But thank God the guy was like, "No, Wayne's on the corner or whatever." I go,
wow.
Cool. So then we went and found this guy Wayne.
No, this is crack. Tickets that way.
Yeah.
He goes, Wayne runs both. But
Yeah.
Wayne's over there. But so Wayne sold us tickets for like $100 a piece or something for pretty good seats. Yeah, that was a good deal. And I remember we go to a parking lot and we're trying to park for free. Whatever it was just expensive. And it was like, not that either of us were broke, but like enough that you're like, it's like, oh man, it's like $30 to park.
Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
even that close. I remember Bill Burr leaning over when the guy comes over, he goes, $30. And he leans over and he goes, Wayne said it was cool. and the guy goes, he like thought about it for, he batted around for 30 seconds before he goes, I don't know who Wayne is.
Imagine if that would've worked.
I tell the story, that's just funny, but when we got into the stadium, I remember we got hot dogs, and I, was putting mustard on my hot dog, and I bit the packet, and it was one of those, I didn't bite it enough, and you squeeze, and instead of doing like,
pinhole.
instead of being an adult and making it more of a thing, you just squeeze a little harder.
Squeeze harder. So compensate.
And it blasts on this big, huge black dude in front of me, but he was wearing a Coogee sweater.
Oh, shit.
So you really like, and I kind of, so I did it. I squirted it. I figured no one saw. There's no reaction around me at all. The guy didn't feel anything. And I just went back and finished putting it on my hot dog. So I remember looking over at Bill Burr on my first bite, and he was just going, like he was so disappointed in me. He was just like, man, really? You're just not going to tell him or anything? I'm I'm like, I don't know if he turned around, I would have said something.
That's when you take like a napkin and pretend to like bump into him. You're like, oh, sorry about that. Is it club soda? You just
That is a fucking epidemic in sports arenas, though, of people just like kind of just willy-nilly, no spatial awareness, spilling shit. I was at the Yankee game, and I probably left this part out when we talked about it on the show, but there were like 4, just classic white chicks in their 20s. There were 3 pig friends, and then the one that was like a 7 that was with them because she felt like a 9.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like it was just, and their whole interaction also kind of led to that conclusion that I drew, not just their physical appearance, just how she was like almost ordering them around as if she's Regina George in the plastics and these pigs are her linemen. And so they're all getting beers and they're fucking sloppy the moment they come in, and there's some poor bald guy in front of them that like noticed them walk in, like had pleasantries with them as if like he had a chance with some 20-year-olds or something like that, and they flirted back, and then 3 or 4 times they dumped a beer right on the back of this guy's head throughout the game, and each time this Cuckleberry Finn was just like, he was like, no problem, ladies, like I have napkins, that's what they're for. And it's like, you fucking pussy.
Like, let me just wring out my shirt really quick.
It's like, that is not what gets you laid, dude. You're just taking a beating and reaffirming these chicks' way too high self-esteem. Absolutely brutal.
I hated concerts. Spatial awareness is a big thing for me. Also because I'm a big guy, so I've always been I'm worried that I'm blocking somebody behind me at a standing concert. I'm worried, you know what I mean? I try to like leave as light a footprint as I can in a moment. And so it bothers me so much when people don't give a shit about that.
Same.
I remember I took Christine to see Fleetwood Mac at the Garden a couple years ago, and it was so great. And it was that and Billy Joel at the Garden are 2 of my favorite things to see or seen, because it's also...
He just came.
I mean, Billy at the Garden, pal. I mean, I'm a Long Island boy.
I've done it a couple times now. I'm going to do it again.
I want to do it. I've
the
never
best.
done
Let's
it.
all go. Let's go after this.
You go as a group. There's one in November. It's every month, but it's so fun because you just know all the songs. But it's a primarily sitting concert, and then sometimes it becomes a stand. That's fine, depending what section you're in. And it's all like... But it's comfortable. Everyone's kind of just like doing their thing. Like it's a mellow show. And then so was Fleetwood Mac. Everyone seemed to be enjoying it. And then we had 2 empty seats next to us, which was really great.
That's awesome.
And good section. And then like the 3rd song in, this girl comes dressed like Stevie Nicks, like, flowy shit.
Yeah.
Total like hippie dippy chick. And her boyfriend, who was a foot shorter than her, and just like not into this at all. You could tell he didn't know a thing about it. He was just like tweed jacket, like little geeky guy that her fantasies probably she's gonna turn. She's gonna take this uptight business guy, and make him like some like willy nilly.
Yeah, he's gonna open up to art.
Yeah, he's gonna start wearing like hemp necklaces and shit. So she comes in and these songs start, and she starts dancing like going Gypsy Queen. And it's making me irate without saying. It's just her arms just keep in front of Christine. Actually, she's just doing like she's waving her arms.
Octopus arms.
She's like coming across Christine's like view like every 5 seconds, and she's right next to her, and you're just like, how is this lady not realizing she's being a cunt?
Right.
I couldn't wrap my brain around why no one else. I would feel that so much if I was doing it.
Of course.
Yeah. Even if I'm just forced to be like a quarter in front of somebody on things like that, you're just like. Man,
I've felt that when I'm on mushrooms at a concert, where I'm genuinely like, I'm concerned about other people's view.
Yeah.
I have my hands in my pockets. I'm rocking out to it, but I'm like, all right, make as little of a scene as humanly possible.
Yeah, just stay out of the way, sort of.
Yeah.
And so I switched with Christine at one point. By the way, not even Christine asking for that. I get so mother hennish and stuff like that. I'm so worried that everyone's not enjoying, especially if it's something I brought somebody to, or I'm like, you should see this as a great concert or something.
Yeah, you feel an obligation to make it a good experience.
And there wasn't that, but it was meant for something very much to Christine. That there was, her mom died when she was young, and it's all ties into like why that band means so much to her. So I move her on the outside, and I go on the inside next to this girl waving
there you go.
And after about 2 songs of that, I went, Miss, I'm not trying to kill your good time or anything. I go, but just like, could you just like move over a little bit? I go, or if you even switch with your guy there, because then she'll be doing it to him.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, okay, like I'll stop. and just sat down in a chair the rest of the fucking show, and you're like, you fucking twat.
now it just
Like,
comes to you.
I didn't ruin your day.
Yeah.
I'm asking
my
you not
God.
to flap your arms in front of me,
Yeah.
you psycho.
Yeah.
What
You
a
can't-
pouty
and now it ruins.
3-year-old.
Yeah, now it ruins your time because you're like, I didn't mean to. Did you say anything? Like, I didn't mean that you can't dance. I just mean, you know what I mean.
Yes,
you just keep
sort of,
adding
yeah,
to it.
a little bit. I'm like, no, you don't have. I'm like, oh, whatever, lady. Because it was just
You just start doing the
just a
flowy
baby
arms?
overreaction. And that's funny. Still, again, growing up, I really would have always thought the people that get it, whatever kind of funny thing there is or cool thing in the world, would lean more to being like that person. When you see her,
right.
you're like, this chick's gonna be fucking cool as shit. And they're the worst.
Of course.
That's the girl that writes the 2-page letter to a comedy
Yep.
club.
I'm really
saying,
open-minded and I have a great sense of humor, but
Yeah.
but everything that was said made me super upset.
I'm super open-minded and free-spirited. But if anybody asks for their own personal space, fuck you.
And then they're like, but I did love the Middle Eastern comic, the Indian guy, and that lesbian girl.
Yeah. I
Just
don't
for the
remember
record, make sure you write down that I did say that the lesbian I
Right.
really loved,
Yeah.
and there was the trans person, which was my particular favorite, and then 2 black gentlemen.
Dude, I almost kicked a chick the other day I take Muay Thai, or I've just started to, and I'm on like my 3rd class, so I'm just starting to really learn what to do. But there was some fucking gangly, like 6'3" girl, real like young. I think she was talking about college before, but she looked like she was like held up with strings, like no motor functions, even walking. And so the entire class, she's like throwing, backhanded hooks and like trying to go up and like kicking and almost falling. And at one point, we're doing this thing called a teak kick, where you just lift your leg and then push forward. It's almost like the 300 This Is Sparta kick. And I go to lift my leg, and this fucking Ichabod Crane bitch kicks her thing and falls directly into my bag, pushing the bag, and I miss both. I like almost go to her, and I like twist my body, miss the bag and her, and just hyperextend my knee. So I just saved this fucking dummy's lower lumbar, missed the bag, missed everything, and I'm literally hobbling for the last 2 days because of this fucking dippy idiot that
Isn't
has
that
no
so weird?
control over her
The
limbs.
idea of the hyperextension, where it's like, my goal is to impact something,
Yeah.
which should hurt it more, you'd think, because it's stopping the momentum of my. And it's like, but then I don't hit anything, and it hurts twice as much
It's the
as
worst.
if I would have hit something.
And it's the knee that I just like. It's bad news anyway. So it was just like I wanted to fucking accidentally like just hook kick her right in the chest.
The thing, what's funny too? You're talking about the people who are annoying at games. Yesterday, there was a person who was even though they were trying to be considerate, they were kind of mother henning it. They took it too far, and then they became the assholes. Like, they were right behind us, and anytime anybody was walking into their seats, this group of guys behind us, they'd just be like, "Down in front, hey." Brother man, down in front. It's just like older white guys like trying to like be young, like talking to black people, being like, "Brother, can you help me out here?"
Yeah.
And
That
sit
happens
down.
a lot at Yankee stadiums. Though.
It's so yeah.
My man.
Yeah. Hey, my brother. But it was so bad because they kept doing it, and like Ari and Lewis and I were looking. It was just like, yeah, just give them. No one's loitering. They're
Right,
trying to
right.
get into their seat as fast as it's like. There's this much leg room.
Yeah.
You have to step over everything, and it just fucking. Hey, guys, down in front. He's even yelling at the concession guy down in front. The guy's like, "Are you kidding?" Like, he's like, "I'm not gonna fucking."
That did happen though, where I didn't say anything, and it's unlike me to not confront, especially in social situations with somebody that I could beat up, because I'm like Lewis in that sense.
Pad the numbers.
If I see weakness, then I'm just gonna be like, all right, well, I can do whatever I want in this situation. There was like a 65-year-old dude sitting in front of me at the Yankee game, and he made it a habit to sit on the seat as it was pressed against the back. So it was not in full, like, flat down position where the seat is. It was
Right.
up. And he would sit, and it was just, like, directly in my line of vision. And it would take him, like, 3 minutes sometimes to just then lower the fucking seat
Yeah.
into a 90-degree angle. And I, like, the whole time, I'm like, why aren't I saying anything? Why am I not twisting this old fuck's head right off his shoulders? And instead, I'm just letting him alpha me, and it made me feel awful.
He was just being old,
Yeah.
old and slow.
Yeah, I just came to terms with
unacceptable.
my own
God's
mortality.
trying to
at that
show
moment.
me up.
I'll show you old.
Show me what's up.
The crazy. This is just like a weird aside. So my dad right now is in Machu Picchu, and he is such a big Yankee fan, he found the only Irish bar in Machu Picchu, and it turns out it's this place called Patty's Pub. He took a picture of it, and
No
he's
kidding.
drinking there. It apparently is the highest elevation Irish bar on the planet. It's at 11,000 feet above sea
That's
level.
quite the elevation.
Yeah, so he's like in there drinking beer. It's like the man's in.
His ears are bleeding.
He's shit faced.
He just has an oxygen machine next to him.
There's like another Guinness.
It's like the lineman in a football game. He has that Arctic fucking fan behind him.
Yeah. How great is that?
dude.
Oh, thanks,
Harrington,
handsome.
What a guy, huh?
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Harrington.
Wow, who has more
That-
comic book T-shirts, Harrington or Mike Lawrence?
I would say probably
Lawrence.
Mike Lawrence, yeah. But you know what you guys can do while we're enjoying this lovely coffee is leave us a 5-star review on
Yeah.
iTunes. That would be lovely. You're all great. Appreciate them coming in. And follow us on social media at Irish Goodbye Podcast on Instagram, at Irish Goodbye Pod on Twitter. And if you want to send us an email with some crazy shit that happened to you, it's irishgoodbyepodcast@gmail.com. If you guys
have we
want to
gotten
sign up,
any stories?
haven't checked. If you guys want to sign up for a Gas Digital subscription, use code IGP. That's great because you get all the other archived episodes. We are the Sopranos of podcasts, so you got to listen from the beginning to really find out what's going on. Figure out why Jay is into the picture now and when he left the last season. You know, it's all very important. So, and also go to Merch Pump and buy some cool shit. We got the Irish Goodbye starter kit there with the smoke bombs. I want to see videos of people using it. You know,
Yeah,
so
I did too. I would enjoy that.
Let's get those
thoroughly.
out. And where are you going to be, Jay? This will come out Monday.
I have Edmonton coming up in 2 weeks. We're doing the Legion of Skanks live shows at the Comedy Store in LA.
Nice.
That's October
Fuck
16th,
yeah.
17th, I believe, or 17, 18. I think 16, 17. I'll be in Edmonton right after that. And then a whole bunch of tours. I have Minneapolis coming up, bigjcomedy.com.
What are you doing, Acme?
No, House of Comedy.
Oh, cool. That's the one in the big mall, right?
Yeah, I do that.
Isn't that where
I
Ari
hear
got in
Acme's
trouble
amazing.
for hiding edibles?
That was in Edmonton.
Oh, really?
Oh, no, it might have been in Minneapolis. But it was one of those. That same
probably
guys,
both, let's
same
be
guys,
honest.
same guys club. But I do that one in Minneapolis because their one in Edmonton is. Really
cool.
Good. I like
Nice.
that. But bigjcomedy.com for all my stuff.
Hell yeah, you know him. You love him. Next week, get all my dates at MikeCannonComedy.com, but starting next week, I'm going to be on the road for pretty much the rest of the month and then half of November. On the 11th, I'm going to be at Lucy's in Pleasantville. I got a door deal, so it would be lovely if you guys came out. It's close enough. It's in Westchester, so Rockland, Westchester, come out to that. The 12th and 13th, I'm going to be at McGuire's in Bohemia, Long Island. Then the 19th and 20th, I'm at City Steam in Hartford. And then the 24th through the 28th, I'm at the Comedy Cellar, Las Vegas. Colin Quinn, Chris DiStefano, Mike Vecchione, Taylor Tomlinson, and Mark Cohen. That's going to be a great show. I think you can get $25 tickets with code CCSocial. That's what I've been told. So use that. And then the 3rd through the 15th, I'll be in the Middle East. So I don't know if we have any armed forces listeners?
I'm sure we're pretty patriotic.
We're very patriotic. We have
You
not
doing some
kneeled once.
bases?
Huh?
You doing some bases, military
Yeah,
bases?
yeah.
Nice.
I'm doing Kuwait, Jordan, and Bahrain.
Do you like traveling like that?
I do, yeah. Or I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
The
You're
better
like, I do.
the better answer is I don't know. I mean, I know it. I've done a long flight like that before for my honeymoon, and it wasn't that difficult for me. I don't sleep all that great regardless, but I plan on taking a fair amount of Xanax for the way out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even the flights are tough too, but just being in another place, there's an hour or so of every day to me where I'm like, this is a cool, interesting thing
Right.
I've never seen before. And I guess it's, as an adult, be cool that I've seen this thing. However, most of it just ends up being, why does cable suck in this country? The internet is slow everywhere you go.
Yeah.
It's like, I really just want like the amenities that I know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why is food all weird? Why do I have to why is the only thing room service brings a live fish or something?
What you're speaking about is culture.
yeah, whatever that is.
It will be interesting.
That's the most Philly thing about me.
Yeah,
Which is my lack of I don't want to know about your weird thing.
Cheesesteaks and
I'm not-
HBO. That's
I'm not xenophobic. I just think America is better than everywhere else.
yeah.
Does it come with fries?
Freedom fries. Yeah.
Fries next to that?
Tabulian fries.
Yeah.
This will be the longest I've ever gone since I started smoking weed. Or actually, I did a month in college. If I haven't done a month or even like longer than 1 week ever since I started smoking weed. So it'll be interesting to go almost 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Why do you have to not smoke? You just,
I mean, it's like this is Aladdin country. You get your fucking hand lopped off for weed.
really?
Yeah.
I guess the soldiers don't have it.
No.
What a bum out.
They will
what I
have
mean?
heroin and rape, though.
I was going to say, you might be able to find hash. You might be able to find some hash.
I'm not even fucking around, dude. If I get
You could fuck a boy off the grid.
Yeah. Or on the, probably in
just
the base.
an abandoned ISIS tunnel.
Yeah. Guys, come out to On the Offensive October 12th, New York Comedy Club, 7 p.m. And then also October 17th, headlining Caroline's. That'll be great. Great show. Casey Balsham, Evan Williams, Brendan the Sneaky Raccoon Sagalo. Come out to that. Use code BEER for $5 tickets, and then go to MikeFeeneyComedy.com for all the dates and whatnot.
Exciting.
And all that bullshit.
You should ask if you could, like, just be offensive where you're like, hey, he goes, where do you guys do the waterboarding shit? I want to do it. I'm going to pour some water on this guy.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? What are we doing? Putting cigarettes out on one of these jihadi motherfuckers?
Yeah.
Sir, I don't know what you, please, can you just do your comedy, please?
Yeah.
This is my comedy.
Yeah.
Where's he at? Bring him out. I want to kick him.
You hear faint screams in the distance. From some
Pay no
isolated
attention to
tents.
that. Yeah.
Car battery. Where's the car battery thing on the nips?
Yeah.
I know you have it. Why wouldn't you?
That's the one. The two things I'm not allowed to talk about. Otherwise, they're like, you could be as dirty as you want, like whatever.
That's awesome. That's usually not the case.
Yeah, but they're like, no drugs, no rape, or like sexual assault. And I'm like, yeah, of course. Like that.
They've had their fill of that.
You just walk out laying naked face down on top of a bunch of other guys.
It's like when you do weed jokes in Amsterdam. They're like, we get it.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Same thing.
Weed's
He goes, "Hey, guys,"
cool.
They go rape. They go, dude, I've forgotten more about rape than you're about to tell me.
Yeah.
Dude. Relax.
Go ahead, educate us on why you think it's fun. Tell us something we don't know.
Oh, that's fantastic. Can I tell you, we did Schulz's podcast the other night, and
Flagrant 2.
Flagrant 2, and we were in I don't know what recording studio it is, but it's in like the very tip of Manhattan. That is
Financial
certainly
district.
going to be under the first part of the city underwater.
Sure.
Like you could just tell. It's like on a downward slope. There's what it's like it's done.
There's water coming.
There is water coming. So we get to this place, and everything's shut down at fucking dusk in this area.
Yeah.
So Feeney and I are walking around, and it's like
10 o'clock.
Yeah, it's like I Am Legend. Like there's nothing. There's faint lights flickering, kind of. It's dark streets. We're like, this is so bizarre. We go into this building that's pretty nice. It had a doorman that couldn't care less if we were holding machine guns. He led us immediately up to the floor, and we get in there, and it's kind of like a hip hop oasis in the middle of this fucking corporate world.
Really?
Like very weird. Like immediately kind of like man cave lounge type of thing.
Pool tables, gold records.
Yeah, gold records from like recording artists.
Beastie Boys.
Yeah,
Is it is it the network he's on or something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's like their whatever offices is. I forget whatever it's called.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it might be Rent-A-Space though, because a lot of people there. The point being, there was like a bunch of dudes like hanging out watching the Knicks preseason game, acting like it was the playoffs, which was weird. This guy was like 500 pounds, sitting in his own filth, screaming at the Knicks preseason as if
I got pretty excited for the Sixers preseason game last week. I was pretty excited.
I mean, well, you have a reason.
Starters.
You have a reason because now Markelle Fultz is actually coming out of the woodwork, and you see what he got, and his fucking shot looks great.
Gonna be nice.
The Sixers are going to be a very exciting team to watch, but regardless. So we go in there, and like it's classic Schultz environment. Everybody's black. We're not.
Yeah. And boy, do they make that known.
They sure do. Because they're like dismissively telling us to basically go to every corner of this goddamn office to find where we're recording. They're like, it's straight down. It's the door right there. First they get, we go in.
Oh,
Feeney,
that was, yeah. So, right. Yeah. So they go straight down to the door, and then Mike's like, I have to go to the bathroom. So I go, all right, I'll meet you in the studio. And I go to, it's like a push door, and I go to push it, and it just doesn't, it's locked. So I was like, oh, geez, I guess it's like Andrew's not here yet to open it, whatever. So I start walking back towards the bathroom. Then Mike comes out of the bathroom. He's like, why didn't you go in? I go, oh, it's locked. I'm going to take a piss. I go into the bathroom, and then Mike.
Yeah, I just go. I was like,
Mike doesn't take my word for
I
it.
don't.
By the
I
way,
don't
when black dudes get alpha in that situation, that's always like so funny when they're going at you. Like, what do you? I don't know where the fucking place. They're getting like kind of weird about it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like a black man, or you go. Hey, it wasn't that corner. That seems to be like the wrong place. You told me. He goes, oh, I'm sorry, massa. Am I supposed to tell you? Like, please don't stop saying that. That's not what I'm saying.
I just would like accurate directions.
Yeah.
So I'm walking down the hall. I never take anybody's word for it when they say a door is locked.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was
know
locked.
why.
It
It's
was
just
locked.
my instinct to be like they didn't push hard enough. And in this situation, it either was or they unlocked it because I opened and there's like a smoking hot video hoe in like a glittery outfit. This is Monday at midnight, basically. And like kind of weed smoke billows out, and she just like looks at me almost deer in headlight style, and I'm like,
We're being raided.
Swarm. Yeah.
I look at her and I'm like, I'm doing Schultz's pot, and like before I could finish the sentence, like a black guy with a bald head who was like, you could just tell he was like wide as shit. He goes, what? And I'm like, oh, I'm doing Schultz's podcast. He goes, nah. And I'm like, is Andrew in there? He goes, no, and then closes the door.
There was like 15
and
of
I
them.
was like,
50
I've never
people in
wanted
there.
to fight everybody more in my entire life. Like,
Schultz should probably look into that, though. I mean, if you're going to do a thing there, it's got to be a little warmer.
Right.
When
Yeah.
guests come.
I mean, Jesus Christ, it was so
That's
wild.
no. I mean, that would make. At that point, I probably would have left and not done the podcast. I
well,
would've
it
been
gets worse.
Really?
That
Yeah,
was
of
the
course it
was
gets
the
worse.
first 4 minutes we were
I'd
there.
have been out the door right there.
Yeah.
Like, nah, forget
So
that.
Oh, trust me, Feeney's like talking me out of it, and I'm like shadowboxing.
Because I walk out of the bathroom and he was like, "It was not locked." Yeah.
And not to mention, there were some
You get-
very
you get-
unfriendly people.
Daredevil fantasies where you're in a hallway of a building just taking out a bunch of hip hop guys.
It does make me wish I did like the Batman training, like that fucking
Yeah.
disappear type of shit, and just snap everybody's necks silently.
So Schultz shows up. We go to start setting up the thing. It turns out that was the room that we needed to be in, but they were just finishing up what they were recording.
Yeah, they
That's-
were-
Video host stuff.
Yeah, they were
yeah.
about to come.
Yeah, and so we're like cleaning up. There's like empty champagne. There's a bottle of Hennessy lying
course.
around. We're like cleaning everything up, and then Schultz realizes he forgot.
There was a big neon sign that said redundant.
Yeah. He forgot his video equipment to film the podcast. So he was like, I gotta go back home. We're already like starting late. He's like, it'll be a half hour. So we're at this vending machine because there was no water. Like you can buy a water. So we go to this vending machine. He's like, guys, as he's delivering us this
Why do
news.
you guys respectfully just go?
I don't know.
Because we need listeners.
Yeah, yeah. You don't get it, Jay.
It's
Let's reschedule this.
That's
thing.
what makes this story the saddest.
Yeah.
It's a comedy podcast, but also we're really showing you warts and all what we're made of.
So we're at this vending machine. Mike has we also smoked, so maybe a little this might have influenced the decision. Mike goes, I only have a $5 bill, and I go, this is great. Get me a water, get Schultz a water, and then you'll have some change left over. He goes to put it in. There's no water, so Mike orders a Diet Coke. Mike presses Diet Coke. Then Andrew walks up, tells us he forgot his video equipment. He'll be right
He's
back.
like, I'm just going home.
Yeah.
I live 47 blocks away.
He's like, dude, 20 minutes.
I'm going to walk. It's a beautiful night.
20 minutes tops. Be right back. Just chill out, hang out, watch the game, play pool. So we're like, oh, really? And
Play pool, and don't worry, none of these black guys probably want to play pool.
It's kind of taking over.
Or they'll love knocking balls, interrupting their conversation about Kevin Knox in the last 2 minutes of the Knicks preseason game.
Yeah. So he goes to leave. Mike's like, motherfucker. And as he goes to pick up his Diet Coke, first off, it doesn't let us put in 3 drinks. It immediately gives him 47 quarters.
Yeah.
All of the
$4 worth of quarters. Instantly.
So Mike's like, this is the worst case scenario. Goes to grab his Coke. It's not only not cold, but it is
scalding hot.
Yeah,
it's as if somebody put it on a fucking boiler.
hot Diet
The
Coke.
metal hurts.
And I just turned to Mike and I was like, you need to feel this right now.
Yeah. It was hot. It was hot.
Just to confirm
Yeah.
that my insanity and my just absolute aggression to a boiling point
Mike's-
wasn't
Do you think maybe do you think you're a fire starter or something? Do you think your anger boiled all the sodas in their cans?
You
You're
just
holy
hold it
shit.
like
you're
this.
like, when you're putting the money in, you're just transferring that heat.
He's an X-Man. Yeah.
I'm the boy 11.
Yeah. So Mike gets fucking punked by these people doing the thing. And then now
Mick, don't fucking twist the knife. Jesus Christ.
so Mike gets cucked by these people. He gets the hot
A
Coke.
real Cliff
Schultz
Huxtable.
leaves. Now, so Mike just goes, let's go get food. I'm furious about this whole situation. We leave. We go try to get food in a place where there is not. It's a ghost town. There's not even. We try to go to a Burger King, which is like Mike settles for going to Burger King. That's closed. A Fridays is closed. I mean, the only thing open in that whole area was a Dunkin' Donuts. So we go, and it's closing too. So
I forgot about this part.
So we
Jesus
go
Christ.
into Dunkin' Donuts. Mike's like, I guess I'm eating at Dunkin' Donuts, and he's so mad about it. And Mike, there's like 4 donuts left in their whole store. And he orders a donut. I was like, maybe I'll get a donut. I go, Mike, try your donut first. Tell me if it's good because they look really stale. And he goes, no. He takes a bite. He goes, this is great. I order a donut. We walk over to like the area where we're going to talk. I go to take my donut out of the bag, and as I take it out of the bag, like something out of the Luis Gomez playbook, I knock into Mike's hand, and his donut just falls right on the ground. And Mike's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
It was such a substantial part of the donut too. Like it was this big, and it was thick, and it fucking like probably a good third of the donut. And Feeney's like downplaying it like it was a sliver, and I'm like, look, dude, it looks like somebody took a decent shit on the floor.
So now to make up for it, because I felt bad because Mike's having a tough time, I bite into my donut, which in fact was one of the most stale, awful donuts I've ever had. And I go, Mike, I feel bad, buddy. Why don't you have the rest of my donut? And he goes, I don't want it. And I go, you
first
sure?
You said, this is terrible. Want it? And I'm like, why would I? Like, why
and then I
want
said, no. You said no. And then I go, you sure? And you said, well, I'll try it. And then you take the donut. You immediately put the whole thing in your mouth and go, this is awful. And then go back to eating it. We get back to the studio. Schulz comes back. It's like an hour and a half at this point. We get back to the studio to record. And the producer walks in with a bag of food.
Sorry, guys. Got another video, ho.
The producer walks in with a bag of food and is like,
where'd you guys go?
He's like, where'd you guys go? I was at this deli. They have great hot food right here.
Sat there and picked at a rotisserie chicken for 6 hours. And then we proceeded to record a Joe Rogan length podcast.
Yeah,
2.5 hours.
It was like 1:30 in the morning. We showed up at 9.
You know how long it takes a fucking lift to get to that area of the city? They are never there. Yeah, it took like a 14-minute lift.
Yeah, it's like the quarantine
The guy
zone.
gets the call in Brooklyn.
I actually think that's right.
He's like, I'll jump over.
I'll jump over the bridge. That was a crazy experience of a day, but real fun for me to kind of watch because it was getting worse and worse for Mike progressively, and it's like there's something about that
you
when
want
things.
The donut. That's the self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, once you're like in a bad mood, it's all going to go haywire.
Yeah.
I walk around like that a lot with it, like everything's going to go wrong, and then it does.
Right.
The guy called it. He said, well, yeah, didn't you kind of want it to go wrong then since you called it? I do like being right more than I like the thing happening.
I feel that's similar whenever I'm on psychedelics, something like disproportionately unbelievable will happen, and I always chalk it up to being like always on psychedelics, and it's like, well, I almost feel like I'm willing that into existence because everything is so hyped up weird that more weird tends to happen when you're expecting weird.
You see a butterfly as you're on mushrooms, and you're like, the way it's floating, you know? It's just
Oh man, I lived out a fantasy the other day. I was headed to do New Jokes at the Cellar the other night, right? And I don't know if we've talked about this phenomenon on the podcast, but it's something that like I've talked to a lot of people about. There is a weird thing happening where people are like trying to enter and rush the train before allowing a single person to step out. And I feel like it's only amplifying over time, like now.
Back in the population-wise.
I guess, but also it's country-wise. Like it's people believing that them getting on the train is more important than you getting off. When if
I've seen. I don't get on the train even that much, but when I have recently, I have seen there's like no one gives a shit about anybody else.
It's so crazy. I told the story on the podcast last week, I think, about a homeless woman not letting some nebbishy woman kind of skate by her, and then the woman like kind of pushed against her, and the homeless woman punched her in the back of the head like twice. It was crazy. So this is my own version of that story. I'm trying to get off at West 4th, and it's a wall of American Psycho needle dicks, just fucking, probably on coke. They're like sniffling a little bit. They're in 3-piece suits. They're talking about the latest trends in the market, the whole fucking thing, and loudly doing so as bum rushing like a Red Rover line onto the fucking train. So immediately I kind of locate the smallest one, the Chris Milhouse of the group, if you it feels that. And this guy also was the biggest dick because as they're walking on, and I'm saying, excuse me, he then cut from the end of the fence across my body, and like, I don't know if it was involuntary, but without thought, my right hand caught his square in the chest, and I pushed him, and he fell on his back.
No.
He fell square on his back, and there is nothing funnier than a fucking white rich fucking loser in his 20s that thinks he's got the world by the balls on his back in a full gorgeous suit, just like a turtle on a piss-covered subway platform.
Yeah.
It was the greatest moment of my life. And then I shoulder checked one of the bigger friends and
They
just
didn't go,
continued
like-
to walk. Yeah, they yelled after me, but I just kept walking like with my headphones in, pretending I couldn't even hear
I
anything.
fell in piss. I can't go to happy hour no hula he's. PJ O'Hallahan.
What will the waitress think? I'm trying to bang her.
Yeah, we're going to Mad River like this.
Yeah, I can't get obliterated by 7 p.m. like this.
What is that shithole bar on 42nd and 2nd? That
McFadden's.
McFadden's. That is
Yeah.
the classic. Yeah, I'm done with Wall Street.
I
I'm gonna
never
go to
did. Did
McFadden's.
you? Were you ever in the workforce in a place that was like
did,
9
yeah.
to 5?
Yeah.
You go to happy hour, try to get laid.
I never
whatever it
did
is?
that. I worked because I had always done comedy. So I was doing every single work day I would leave and just go do comedy.
I mean, I started doing when I was 19, so every job I even had after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like my downtime was like trying to figure out something with
I did go to office parties and do, weirdly enough, and this guy I think like moved to another country, but at some point one of the higher ups in the company like felt up one of the younger employees, got caught, and got fired the next day after one of the holiday parties. Yeah. So I saw a Me Too, but being handled
Immediately?
In an appropriate manner.
I mean, instantly. It was like kind of a real weird situation. The dude was married. He was like super aggressive drunk. It was just, very, very bizarre. But like the culture of that, because we used to have like happy hour in the office, 3 p.m. every single Friday. So my job as IT guy, bitch boy, office manager, basically, Kunta Kinte of the office, just, being paid complete dog shit to do every single job possible. I would have to go out, get like a ton of snacks, beer, all this shit under like $30 basically. They'd give you an impossible budget. I would run it up to about 400 every single week without telling them.
Right.
And every 3 p.m. on a Friday, people would get wasted, hammered drunk in the office, and then kind of just fucking go out into the world on a Friday and drive home from their parking garage or wherever the fuck they were going. It was the most, it's like a real weird insight into that world.
No, I'm very intrigued by just when we go down, we do Bonfire, the 2 days that we pre-record, in between shows right at about 5:30, we go downstairs for like 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And getting in the elevator on the 36th floor over there and going down, it'll stop on about 4 or 5 floors before it goes all the way down. And we pick up people along the way, and I swear I just stare at them. I always like try to make some kind of weird like happy hour joke,
right?
Like, out loud to see if there's any reaction. But it's just like it's a culture.
It's 5 o'clock
just waking
somewhere.
up,
Here.
just waking up.
It's
Wake up in the morning,
warriors.
putting on a suit.
Yeah.
Suit to me, like someone's getting married or someone's dying.
Yeah.
It's rarely, if ever, and if there's a tie involved, for sure.
Right.
If we're even talking jacket, pants, like kind of suit, I like it's got to be something. I'm trying to impress somebody, or I'm trying to make somebody happy. Mm-hmm. Like I'd never understand just like this. That's 5 day a week.
The suit,
like living for the weekend.
Yeah, working for the weekend.
Weekend
stuff,
warrior.
yeah.
I don't get it, but I if I didn't do comedy, I wouldn't have done it any other way. It's exactly what would have happened. Although I say maybe I just would have been drawn to like. So I may have just been a complete failure in life.
Sure.
I don't know if I would have done, but I assume my life would just be when I was younger.
Oh, the angry.
It's conditioned.
Which is going to be complete. Like I'll do what my mom and stepfather do. It's 2 years of school and you make good money. It's medical professional. Yeah. And I would do that, and you go on a vacation, I guess, every year. Eventually, you marry some chick, I guess, have a kid. I
see why my parents got divorced though from my time working in an office. I've never been angrier. Like it's confining, it's maddening, it's everything.
No office politics too,
well,
right?
Because comedy is looked at as kind of like a degenerate, job to have. It's like you're out there, you're fucking around. But I saw nothing less than degenerate behavior while working in an office. But it's hidden under a shroud of of decency.
But all those kind of jobs, like people say, no one goes harder than kitchen people.
Right.
And teachers.
Like chefs and stuff like that. Yeah, teachers fucking go
Teachers
pretty well.
drink.
And it's
oh yeah, they do. Because my wife's fucking mother is a teacher at the high school we both went to. And so now as an adult, I'm around all the teachers I used to have, but in social settings, and they get blacked out. Like my teacher, I won't say his name, but he's an Asian guy that used to be like, I'd ask him a question and he knew very little English, I guess, or just kind of knew pop culture phrases and would use them out of out of context, I guess. So I'd ask him a question. He'd be like, "I was there, okay? I was there. I was there, okay?" And I'm like, "What?" Like, I don't know what you're saying. He's like, "I get it, and I was there." Like, he'd always try to think I was trying to pull one over on him. And now I see him hammered, and he's like, "Where are my little Asian shoes?" Literally hammered drunk. He's screaming about his little Asian shoes. And it's fucking amazing to see, like, you know, oh, this didn't just start since I graduated.
Yeah.
You've been this for a long
Just masked
time.
it.
I think there's something interesting, though, that comedians was considered a degenerate like job. It's the only job where there's no point of your day you have to pretend you're not the degenerate you are.
Right.
You know, that's why I say I think those office people go. That's why they always like, you know, did he fucking heat up a hanger and burn a hooker last night? He goes, yeah. He has to hide everything about himself that he finds like interesting or fun, and be this fucking dork every week. You know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's why politicians
and you
or
go
whatever get
fucking
caught
nuts.
getting face fucked by a prostitute.
That's why. Yeah, exactly. Or, you know, a comic would laugh when you go to a bar. The thing it makes your stomach upset almost to see a guy where his tie's around his fucking head like a bandana.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or whatever.
Yeah.
Or the funniest is a drunk, and I'm saying this as an insecure guy myself, that I'm always blown away by this. Like a real, whether it's like just all things going wrong, short, fat, like bad looking guy, but like that drunk happy hour confidence when you see it, like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like really, and just hitting on girls, like, and
Yeah.
you're just like, dude. I'm always like, hey, go for it, buddy, I guess, but no fucking way.
Like the close talking, you know what I mean? Like leaning right at 2 inches of his face.
So bizarre.
I get why women are like, men are the worst. I get it from, you know, because there's a few bad. There's a lot of bad.
Well,
but-
not to mention me not drinking for the last 3 weeks has really opened my eyes to how poorly I must smell while drinking. Because, like, just being around drunks while not drinking, you're just like, oh, like, this is so intense. You're in my space. I can't, like, even maneuver without you thinking that that's a cue for you to come closer.
Yeah.
And then you're breathing your dog shit that you ate on top of the 47 drinks that led you to eat that dog shit in the first place. It's like
bad drunk is the worst.
But
It really is like
and that's what this podcast is based on.
Yeah, two
someone
bad
who's
drunks.
Are you a bad drunk?
No, I just think we you know,
We like drinking. Like I
No, but I'm
really
not saying it. But
drinking.
are you a bad drunk?
I'm very friendly. I can fall asleep. And I get punchy with Brendan Sagalow
He
about
gets
it.
grabby. Yeah.
But mostly because Brendan's just so punchable. He's got so much body that it's just so fun. I almost feel like he doesn't feel
I would
it,
say
but
it's
he
a
does.
heavy bag, but it's more like it's a soft bag.
Yeah, it's a stress ball bag.
Yeah.
I don't know. Alcohol has never affected me ever in a way that's going anything from like fun, giggly, good times to, and then if it goes, the bad it would go is sick, like feeling like I'm like, I want to get out of here.
But you
I've
seem
seen
to
that
have
video. You throwing up the red wine.
Well, that was just consumption too quick. I never had a chance to get drunk.
That looked crazy.
Crazy. It was pretty crazy. But I forget what I was saying. Dabs.
about being a good drunk.
Alcohol has never affected my personality in the fuck you, you're kicking us out, suck my dick.
Right.
But I think
I don't know, it just never hit.
You've
I was
kinda
like that
always
during
been
my
that,
parents' divorce.
You've always kind of been that like gentle, gianty kind of. You don't seem to have the temperament that would even be unlocked with drinking to be like, I'm gonna fucking throw my weight around.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I think
know?
it's something you find. In, I know people who are just like drunk and it's like let's
Combative.
fight. It's very combative, or it can go that way. It's
It's insecure.
That's
I
classic.
had
That's
2 full years
classic
of
girl
that.
drunk too. Like the when Christine drank, she had like a bit of that in her, a little like, and you'd almost be like, "This is not the person,
Right,
my
right.
girlfriend. Like, what are you doing? You know, with this, that like, no, fuck them, they're wrong." And you're like, no, you're definitely wrong. Like, we gotta go, kind of thing. Like,
It's almost an argument to have your kid drink a little bit in high school just to get them kind of used to it and understand, because that's like rookie mistake
Have
shit.
you said that to me before? I feel like I've heard that before, and I think that's a good.
Maybe.
There's something to that. I think,
But I
where it's
didn't
like,
drink in high
Instead
school.
of going like,
I did.
I didn't either, but I never went through like a binge phase. But
I
I
did.
didn't drink in high school. I didn't really
I went
drink
through
until I
a
was of
death wish
age.
phase.
Weirdly enough, I started smoking cigarettes late. Everything was stupid on my end, but like, I don't know. It never hit me like that.
I started at, like
booze. Even when I did it hard, all I had to learn was like my level of like, oh, I'm gonna like, I need to go to sleep. I feel like
Right.
the room's spinning, and just keep it at the fun. Everything's fun, but there was never the I'm gonna go fucking fight this motherfucker. In fact,
Right.
I think that I also keep this presence of mind that if someone was like, this guy's trying to fight you, I'm like, I'm not gonna fight this guy. I'm fucking like hammered, man. I was like, I can't fight a guy. I'm gonna get my ass kicked. Like, I can't throw a punch.
I was the exact. I think because I didn't drink in high school and I had no kind of like no experience with it really, that I was making very amateur mistakes when I was 21 years old. So most of the people in college, it's like because I went to 2 years of college at home and then I went away. So even living at home, if I drank the one time when I was playing basketball, it was like then I'd just go home. I had to kind of keep it together. But at school, you know, no curfew, no people to even see you come home shit-faced, no judgment from your parents whose marriage is breaking apart, like, all, you know, none of that shit. So I was fucking full steam ahead, drinking super hard, not controlling my emotion, no therapy, Irish Catholic shit coming out of me, and ready to square up with anybody that looked at me weird. It was and I just got off doing steroids. So
Well, that also I feel like is a major part of it. The steroid.
Yeah.
It sounds like you just were on steroids.
I wasn't at the time though. I was off steroids, but I still had the confidence of somebody that was on steroids.
Yeah.
And you were missing how good they made you feel.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have never felt more vital. Like,
We have talked about this before.
Yeah.
I think. So I did a very,
Every episode we talk about
Yeah,
this.
I did.
And I'll
I've done
continue
I did a very like small amount for a very short amount of time, but wow, it was good. I forgetting like the thing. It was like, you know, it's not like I said. I love the Drago. You know, it's like you inject it into his arm right away, and then he's like strong enough to kill a person. It's
Yeah.
like, it's nothing to do with that. It's an overall. Like, it's like you lose weight without trying. Put on muscle without trying. It's like everything. Like, and if you are doing a little something, which I was like working out and stuff, it just makes you feel fantastic.
Oh yeah.
You're like, this is never going to stop getting better and better.
That's like my favorite part of like Friday Night Lights
like
season
heroin
2
in
is
that
Smash Williams like takes a fucking needle to the butt and then he's like just squatting,
Yeah.
benching like 500 pounds.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's immediate. And it's like, no, it's kind of a small wave of confidence that kind of eventually comes out
Builds
in
to a
either
tsunami.
conflict or competition.
Yeah.
So it's one of those.
And there's a weird thing too, because you guys are talking about if you're getting too drunk, and like you guys both are people who I'm impressed with the amount of how high can perform stand-up comedy without any sort of degradation in quality or mental quickness. And I tell this because there was something that happened to me.
Oh, yeah.
But before we even get into that, just the fact that you two can somehow do that without, you never get like I'm too high to go on stage.
Jay opened me up that second night at Uncle Vinny's. Right? I opened for him at Uncle Vinny's, and like we got high in the back, and I was like, oh okay. And immediately before I went on, I was like, too high for sure, too high. And then I said it, and it opened up this whole doorway into a whatever, and I was like, oh, maybe this is the key.
That sort of is. I've had to say to crowds before, if I like my sign that I got too high is I'll tangent on something, and I'll go, all right, no, I forget, and I just go, you know, hey, blue shirt, what was I saying? I was like, you were talking about your ex-girlfriend, like, right, thank you, and then just because it doesn't matter, you know, like they don't give a shit. As long as the outcome is laughter,
Right.
You know, I'm being a human being with them. I'm like, yeah, this one I may have done a little too much.
Well, yeah. Well, you also have like if you're like sitting or whatever, you have some kind of like this relaxed approach and everything, which I feel like is different with me, where I'm like yelling and running and waving, you know, and all that kind of. And so I'm at New York Comedy Club, and I was like, I just did a show, and I go over there, and I was like, oh, maybe I can slide onto this show. And they were like, yeah, there's no room. We got other people coming in. The show's running late or whatever. So I'm like, I get off. Pavich gets off stage. He's like, I'm looking to smoke right now. There's the famous comedy club drug dealer guy is floating around. We go outside across the street. He's giving people
He's a
Tootsie
listener.
Rolls. Yeah. He's great. I don't want to shout him out.
That
but,
passion fruit is delightful.
So we go outside, and there's 5 people outside, and there are 2 blunts being passed around. One's a regular blunt, one's a blunt with oil in it, rolled in keef. It's like the triple fucking death swing. So I think that's the official name of it.
I actually don't like when I've smoked those before I've gone on stage.
Yeah, it's a terrible. It's
Well, it's more of like an introvert. I feel like that's just, even if it's like, you know, sativa and it's still one of those ones where you just start like thinking about your
Yeah.
It's like Get Out.
I did
You're
that
just
once with
falling
Ari.
into your consciousness.
I did a gravity bong with Ari Shaffir and Christy. I'm sorry to interrupt your thing, but it's like on a slight tangent. Just I remember a half hour later, everyone realized no one was talking, and I looked over at Ari, who was sitting on the floor against the wall with his like hands like covering his knees. You know what I mean? Like hugging his own knees.
Yeah.
And I just looked at him. I go, "You look like the boy in my head right now." So just trying to escape. I go, we should not smoke out of this thing again. I go, no one's talked for a half hour and we're all upset. No one's talked about what they're upset about, but everyone's going through their own thing right now. And we need to go get a milkshake. And we walked down to Mel's and got a milkshake.
Oh, that is awesome.
Because that's exactly what it felt like. Because we were so stoned, and I also was like, you know, when you flip that switch when you're like, I don't have to perform anymore tonight. Like this is just I wasn't driving, so I had already had I think I had 2 drinks because of the show I came from. So I had a couple drinks in me, and I was like. I was fucking, the weed was never passing me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like fucking like double fisting it. So I take this thing and I'm so to the gills where I'm like, Pavich and I kind of look at each other like we got to check out of this. Cause again, it's 2 blunts for 5 people, way too much. So I walk back in, you know, we open the door like a poof of smoke come in with us. I grab a water bottle and in my head, I'm like, you know, kind of narrating. I realize I talk to myself way more than should be socially acceptable. So I am like, I take
as long as you don't move your mouth like Kurt Metzger.
Yeah.
Does he? Like he's Jay-Z in the
Yeah, it used
studio?
to always weird me out. I mean, it's a charming thing about him now because I've known him for so long. But yeah, if you stop paying attention to Kurt for a few minutes, he's going to start going like,
No, I don't care for that at all.
you're like, stop.
Especially him furrowing his eyebrows.
Yeah. It's a very, whatever he's talking about, it's pretty intense.
Yeah,
It's like a furious Bert and Ernie.
yeah, he is certainly getting revenge on somebody. It seems like so I grab this water, I like have a sip of it, and I just have that like relaxation, like that wave of being like, I'm gonna sit in the green room, hang out with some comics. I just bought a pair of sneakers. I'm fucking, what a great day. And I'm like, yeah. And I crack the bottle, and as I turn to go up the ramp to the New York Comic Club into the room, Mike is like barreling down the ramp towards me, and he just goes, he goes, we need time. You gotta go on right now. I'm lighting her right now. And like instantly I'm like, ah! Like I just like everything is my stomach. I'm getting like the first like, cause now I have to snap back into it, and I'm in such a place where I go, I don't even know how to do comedy. Like I'm in a place where this is like first time on stage nerves, and I'm like, okay, maybe like they were like a good show. I like walk into the room, Sarah Tolamash, and I mean murdering, like at a point where people are like giving her applause breaks.
Yeah, there was a really good host that show.
So not only, so not only do I need to go on, but like she's doing so well. She's so goddamn funny.
Because you guys have been the best crowd ever imaginable. No one could do bad with a crowd like this.
If anyone fucks up, it's on them.
Yeah, they would have to be on so many drugs in order to not. So I go to Mike in like a moment of I'm panicking to a point where I go, I'm at about a 50-50 where I go, I think I'm just not going to go on. Like I think that's where
Yeah,
I'm
I've been
at.
there.
So I confide in Mike and I just go, dude, I am too high I can't go on right now. I need time. I don't even know what jokes have I ever told
I'm the
one.
wrong one to confide in.
Yeah, because I tell Mike and Mike goes, I'm gonna tell them that on stage that you're too high to perform. And I go, and I truly meant this. I go, if you do that, I will walk directly out of the club and without even a hesitation and not walk back. Because that's how much I felt like they all would have been like, huh? And then stared at me, and I just would have been. So Mike doesn't do that, thankfully, like a decent human being. He brings me this nice swelling intro. I get on stage, and the first 15 seconds, I don't even know if I said a word. It was just kind of like, Bob, is it good? Hey, you
And
got
it was murder.
But thankfully, I will say, the set ended up going very well, and I noticed my pacing was like way better. Like I was like sitting in jokes.
That's what I think it does. That's why I say I like to perform stoned is for that reason. It makes you lay back and just. You'll say things you might not say if you weren't stoned.
Agreed.
It's like, I'll give it a whirl.
Yeah.
Because there's just more of a thing about that. It goes, these guys are on my side. And like, also it sometimes just builds a confidence where just everything you do on stage, man, you know it's funny. If you thought of it, you know it's funny. You might not be able to convey what you found funny about it the right way. I think that's basically all it is when something doesn't work like that. But sometimes when you tell it with 100% confidence. Look at how good people tell shitty, horrible jokes and find success because it's 100% seething with confidence.
Yeah, 100%.
And like, so it's the same thing. So when you actually catch real confidence on things that you know are funny, it's like you just tell it in a different way that makes them go.
And it really was like that fight or flight mode that I just was like, well, it's one of those where you're like, well, if I can perform like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then so I get off stage and I was like, holy fuck, that felt great. And then as I'm like walking,
First of all, as he's getting off stage and I'm shaking his hand, he goes, "That was a really fun time."
yeah, everyone was like, we can hear you. And then as I'm walking back to the green room, Mike goes on, and of course, because he can't just be a normal guy, he's got to at least turn the knife. He just goes, Mike Feeney. Everybody goes, Mike didn't want me to tell you, but he was violently high while performing, and we caught him outside smoking weed, and then told him we needed to go on, and he just decided to come in and follow his dreams. And then they start applauding, and so I walked back. I did like a curtain call and did like a bow.
A curtsy.
Yeah, I did a curtsy bow, and they were like, yeah, like that, and I'm like, immediately I felt so fucking good, and I go back to the green room, and within 3 minutes of being in the green room, I'm convinced I lost my joke notebook. I was like, it's gone. I spent 30 minutes. I went onto the stage and looked. I went out across where we were smoking. It was just constantly, it was just in my pocket, like comfortably, safely, always in my jacket pocket. I searched, and I panicked so much, and now I'm talking out loud to myself. I'm doing the Kurt Metzger. I'm like, I lost the fight. And Mike's like, what are you saying? What are you talking about? And I'm talking, like, in my head, I'm kind of talking to you, but not talking to you.
You were and not looking at me.
Yeah.
You were like,
I was like, have you seen it? Have you seen it? You know? So Mike's like, dude, you got to calm down. And I realized I'm too high. I go, I got to go. I take my Nikes, and I was like, it's starting to rain. I got a leather jacket on. And I'm like, I should just take a cab home. And then I go, you know what? I can fucking get on the subway. I walk all the way to the N train, which is like a bunch of avenues away. It's raining. It's closed. The subway's just closed. I got to backtrack. I backtrack 2 more avenues back to the 6 train. I go, I should just take a cab. And I go, I'm taking the subway. I get on to the fucking 6 train, and it is like, it's a 4 train that's stopping locally. I get on it. It's the most packed train I've ever been on. Nobody. It is like an Andrew Schulz recording session. Nobody is white on the train. And they all see me holding a pair of Nike. And I'm not saying that like,
my God.
But I'm saying,
this is heading down a dangerous path.
Let me tell you.
And like moths to a light.
And it wasn't nothing to do with the fact that it was a bunch of black people.
I have Jordans, hair picks. Assorted sundries.
Yeah. So I'm wearing my do-rag, and so I'm standing there with these Jordan, and there was like a couple. They were like little like later than teenagers, maybe like early 20s.
Sure.
And I watched them, and again, I'm very stoned, so I'm very hyper aware of everything. I watched the guys looking out of the corner of their eye at the sneakers, and then I watched the dude elbow his friend and go like that, and then like that, and they both started looking, and I'm just holding a bright orange, like, Nike, steal this, and I'm like stuck in bumper, and I'm like watching them, I'm trying to plot my exit with this. I get out onto the train, I go on to the next train, I get back into Astoria. They followed me onto the end train,
kidding.
by the way, but it could have just been going to Queens.
Yeah,
and then I get off, and I have to walk back home to my block, and as I'm walking, I see a guy watch me walk past and then follow me back the rest of the time, and I was like, why the fuck didn't I just take a cab? I'm so stoned.
That should be Uber's motto. Uber, use your head, white people.
That's when you want to make your Irish goodbye.
Hey folks, this is Mike Cannon from the Irish Goodbye podcast with a little epilogue for you guys. If you like this show, then check out other programs on the network like The Thing Is with Shannon Lee and Maddie Jester Skulls. That is Irish Goodbye approved. Here's a highlight from the show. Check it out.
If you have children, would you tell them, would you do the Santa Claus thing?
Yeah.
I've said no.
What's the Santa Claus? Tell them that Santa Claus is real?
Yeah.
Like right away?
No. Tell them. No. I would tell them it's real.
Like never
I would
even do
the whole
Santa
thing.
Claus.
No, I would do it.
That's fun. Yeah.
Like, nah, those gifts are for me. I want the credit.
When I was, because my parents are immigrants. When I was growing up, it wasn't really Santa Claus. All the gifts were to us from baby Jesus.
Oh, jeez.
Which I'm like, cool, thanks, dude. I can't believe you had time to go shopping being a baby. But yeah, I was like Santa was kind of around, but it was more Jesus.
Really?
As a baby. So I was like, oh, this isn't real, but it's a fun thing.
That is so.
So I don't ever remember really believing in a Santa Claus, but I knew like just pretend and just that's the fun of it.
I guess that's a good way to go about it. Yeah, but you have to do the thing like hurry up and go to sleep and make sure you leave out cookies because Santa's coming. You have to do that.
I think that's fun, especially if you're Jewish.
I mean, they really should do that.
Happy New Year to all my Jews.
They should have fun.
Oh, that's right. Happy New Year.
Hanukkah's no fun.
So the thing is, though, that was an accident. That I feel like the best way to go about it is like if you let them kind of slowly figure it out on their own and not have like that sit down and be like, I'm about to destroy your dreams.
There is something behind. Well, I'm not even saying like tell them. It just never even bring it up.
How they live in the world, Maddie. Christmas is like the biggest thing. They're gonna see commercials.
Like, who's
every
that guy?
show,
I'm like, I don't
movie.
know.
So, hey, who's the guy who everyone likes a lot? And you're like, don't worry about who that is. It's not for you.
I'll tell you who he's not. He's not the guy leaving presents under the tree.
No, but my parents used to do like presents from them and then some presents from Santa.
Yeah, so did mine.
You still get credit.
Yeah. It's silly though.
They make all the bad presents from Santa. You're like, this fucking guy sucks.
He's an asshole.
You know what? That is the angle I would take because they used to do the big presents from Santa. It's like, why would you? You guys are like,
I hate my parents. This fucking guy's giving me Teenage Ninja Turtles.
Can I go live with him?
You're giving me socks again? Get the fuck out of here.
Okay, so
can you fucking curse on this?
Nope. We have to bleep it all out. After an hour of butthole talk, no cursing.
Well, there's different types of censorship.
We should do an episode where like we just make Brian fucking censor
bleep everything. He's like, motherfucker,
like
here all day.
Every curse, every sexually suggestive reference. Like
I like that we could see him like just in the camera right there. Like, look at his little handsome ass.
Oh,
what's up, handsome?
Yeah, and the producer camera's broken, so that's all we're gonna get of him.
Oh, there's usually a camera back there?
Yeah.
That's so cool, man. You guys have it all.
We do. You can jump in at any time back there, Brian.
You meant on the screen?
Maddie's talking
I meant
shit
on the
to you.
screen, yeah.
I was like, you see him in the reflection. Your eyes are fantastic.
I'm a fucking
Right
ninja.
there,
No, right
Maddie.
there. Look. No.
Oh, that's just me.
There he is.